All right, good morning. Oop, 1 second, forgot to turn off my little heater. All right, today is September 10th. As I go live, we have a news release. Let's take a look. Producer Price Index. Oh, wow. Uh-oh. Yep. I should have exited my trade. Man, I feel dumb. Crap. Because that is really good news. The data's probably cooked. But what do I know? Alright, good thing I hedge a bit. I think I'll close it. I'll wait a bit. Again, I broke my own rules. I'm not supposed to trade during major news events. I don't know what I'm thinking. I didn't sleep real good last night. Anyway, this is no more paper trading. It's the community. The show is called Premarket Wake Up. My name's Frank. I'm trying to build a community where people can just learn about trading and improve themselves in their trading careers. No plans to sell anything. I never will. I want to become a professional trader. I don't want to become a teacher. I don't want to become a salesman. I will teach, but it'll be for free and on my own time. Link to our Discord is in the description. Right now we have a massive audience of 0 and a massive membership of 2. 2 bots, I presume, since they're never online and they don't answer messages. Anyway, I'm enjoying myself. I like putting on this little show. It forces me to be more professional. All right, let's take a look at... So the way I read this is inflation is going down. And because it is going down and the Fed looks at it, they'll say, okay, we can cut rates because inflation isn't so bad anymore. In my personal experience, I'm going to say inflation is still a huge issue. And I don't really trust these numbers. Because year over year, we were supposed to be up 3.3%, and we're not really. We're only up 2.6%. 2.6% year over year inflation is still huge. But I don't know. That doesn't really matter to me or my trading. I just make sure I don't trade around these areas, of which I failed this morning. Alright, moving right along. I'm going to try to make this a quick show today. I did not get a lot of sleep despite trying to go to bed at 9. I still didn't get a lot of sleep. Alright, let's take a look at the overnight moves. And I'll show you my wonderful idiot trade this morning. I still think we'll come back down to this general area here. But I am currently eating $300. It's already coming back down. But in the overnight, bounced off of yesterday's high a few times. Eventually overcame it, but then rejected the current month high, which was Friday's high. That is also the high off of which price dove off a cliff on Friday. If you weren't there on Friday, it seemed like price reached that spot and went straight down. I think it was just people taking profits after an all-time new high. But you would think that would be a major spot for today, and it was. Had I been up at 3 in the morning, I would have shorted it then. But as price came back to it around 7:20, I shorted it again, thinking it's not a bad trade. I messed up. I should have watched price action for a little bit, because it became very clear very quickly that price action was on the side of buyers. This little pullback at 725 after I was in the trade was immediately bought up. And not to mention the VIX was heading down at that time. As you can see, 725. And it was trending down since the first time. No, not the first time it hit current month high. So the VIX was trending down. It was a bad trade. I should have got out right then and there when it was negative, but I got onto other things and I kind of forgot about it. And not to mention, of course, TradingView screwed up the order entry. So I didn't have a stop. For some reason, it kept saying your stop can't be below your entry, even though it's not. Sometimes it just throws that error. I'm meaning to get much better with TradingView's order entry. I don't like it. I come from Tradeovate. Is it Tradeovate? Yeah. I started with Tradeovate. They have great order entry. That was a great program all around. I still use it. But I migrated to TradingView for a more all-around trading experience. And PineScript, basically, is why I came here. But I could see, I better keep an eye on this. I'm going to put in a stop right now. For when price, if price comes back down. I think it will. Maybe not. I definitely want to keep an eye on it. Alright, NASDAQ. Very similar to ES. Bounced off of yesterday's close, whereas... Am I on the right chart? Oh, I'm sorry. Bounced off of yesterday's close here in the overnight. Very cleanly. At night, I was trading at this time. I usually follow the ES though at night. I should start looking at the NQ as well. But the ES did not bounce in the overnight off of that. Off of yesterday's close. Basically bounced off of EMA. Is that 50? I'm pretty sure that's 50. Yeah, that's 50 EMA. After that, the NQ rose also to the current month high. No, it didn't. No, I marked that. That was the overnight high. So that was a bit arbitrary. It was kind of near last month's pivot point at 23,947. I would say it reversed because the S&P reversed. Same reaction to the news. One thing I noticed in the overnight, which I'll get to it right now because let's take a look at the NQ. The NQ. The Russell. Russell liked that news very much. But it was strange. In the overnight, the ES and the NQ were looking up while the Russell was pretty flat overall. What else happened in the overnight? Not much. Didn't even hit any major key areas that I mark. Even the previous areas that it hit, it kind of ignored. It was in the rough area. I think I might just exit this trade. I don't know. Maybe people will realize the numbers are cooked. Alright, the Dow. Dow also reacted well to the news. What the heck is that noise? Also mixed in the overnight. I guess you could say the Dow came down and hit yesterday's opening range high. It was a bit shy of it. Not much happening there. Gold, after opening, rose for about an hour, came back down to yesterday's low, swept it pretty good. This is why I'm careful with gold and oil. There are times price will hit almost exactly on a key area and times when it doesn't. It'll swing through, pick up your stop, and then go the direction you wanted it to. Gold rose, lingered at yesterday's close for a little bit, and is now trending a bit lower on the news. It's difficult to understand the correlation of gold to the ES and the NQ, well, all the equities. You could say that now that there's a larger chance of a rate cut, gold suffered because people are less likely to throw money into it if they think the other markets are going to rise. But yesterday I looked at the correlation of them, and they don't always do that. It's hard to tell when traders are doing that, at least for me to tell. Maybe I'll learn in time and then forget it. Oil. Oil opened right near, what is that? That is 100 SMA. I plot the daily 100 SMA on the 5-minute chart because, as you can see, price often respects it. Oil rose from there, almost ignored yesterday's opening range low. And again, you can see here the sweep of price around these key areas. Usually when gold and oil do respect price levels, they do it for like a full day. And when they don't for a full day. It's strange. But right now, I would say, well, it kind of respected it around 4 and 5 a.m. here. But now it's sweeping it again. Later on, I'll get to what I think about the day coming up. I don't know if I have the energy to trade more today. Might just take this loss and work on other things today. All right, what do we have for news later on today? Nothing. If you trade oil, we have oil stocks change. I block that out usually if I'm going to trade oil. Something in New Zealand which doesn't matter to me. Tomorrow we have CPI, which is a big deal at 8:30. Maybe tomorrow I'll remember not to trade then. And then Friday, Michigan consumer sentiment. I think Friday, I've been checking the volume of all the futures I trade to see the indices are rolling over, I think on Monday. I gotta double check that, but I start observing early just to see, because sometimes volume will cross over a bit earlier. So I check each contract's volume. And as of now, U is the month, which is September. I don't remember all the months. Z's coming up next, I know that, that's December. We're going to roll over to Z probably Friday or Monday. Next week, FOMC. Can't miss that. That will be Thursday. No, Wednesday. I think it's always on a Wednesday. Also, Canada interest rate decision. I don't think that affects the markets much. I will probably just paper trade that day. Play around with the DOM. I'm trying to learn the DOM a little bit more. TradingView actually has a decent DOM. I haven't really looked at yet what the rest of the month holds in store. PMI the following Tuesday after the rate change. Rate decision. Not much else. I do look out for, oh, never mind. And then GDP comes out, not next Thursday, but the following. I don't think it's going to be great news, unless they cook those numbers too. I don't keep up with all that. I just follow the charts. The charts will never be mad at you for choosing one way or the other. And the charts will never be partisan. That's it till the end of September. I don't know when the so-called summer slog will end. But as you can see, let's take a look at the SPY. We were trending pretty good till the beginning of August. Things started getting rocky. I think you can actually see it in RSI. Yeah, definitely. And if you're not aware, the same thing happened probably the last 6-7 years. Might go back even further, but I haven't verified that myself. There's lots of opinions on what causes and when. You know, maybe large fund managers going on vacation. Retail can't hold up the market. Or often retail is on the opposite side of the moneymakers or the big fund managers. I used to review, what the heck was it called? It's a monthly release where they show you the numbers of long-term participants in futures markets. So something of trade? Geez, I forget it now. I used to look at that, but I couldn't make heads or tails of it and put it on the back burner. There's not a lot of traders that trade it, but the ones that do, or do it well, I guess. But it gives you a breakdown of who's in the markets, retail and larger companies or larger outfits. I forget what they call them. I think they use retail and something else. But as I was getting to, October and November are usually the month where the market resumes its movement. We might have a sell-off. So last year was a bit funky. And there's some people that say they skip that pattern on election years, which was last year. And as you can see, they might have been right. We did come out of the summer slog here, but it never really quite recovered until the following year. I don't know. I do follow some macro news. I don't know if AI can push the market anymore. We need something else. We need influx of capital and profits. I don't know where that's going to start showing, but I'm looking for the next narrative. All right, let's take a quick look at what I think will happen today. Well, I don't really say what I think will happen. I basically look at the major areas that we would hit going either way. And if the ES goes up, the next point we have is a pivot point up at 65.84. That'd be a good stopping area. Also, take a look at where it just stopped at the news. Not as important, not yet. That area was 65.65. If we head lower, obviously the overnight, that wasn't the overnight high. Yeah, the overnight high, besides the news, I know, but the overnight high before the news, and then yesterday's high, and then beyond that, previous month's high at 65.23, and yesterday's close. I'm still waiting for price to drop so I can not lose so much money. Yeah, well, at least I don't do what I used to do. Lose that much money and then be so stressed about getting it back the same day that I just trade recklessly and lose more. NQ. Heading up, we have previous month's high right above us. At, what is that, 24.69. Beyond that, we have the pivot point at 24.91. 24,091. If we head lower, we have this general area. I don't know what to call it. The high before the news. Also, previous pivot point at 23,947. I wouldn't trade that. I would look for what price does there and go from there. Below that, we have yesterday's high at 23,918. And then yesterday's close at 23,874. Russell. Right now, the Russell seems stuck right at yesterday's opening range high. Again, I thought it was strange that the Russell did so poorly in the overnight compared to the others, and poorly yesterday as a whole. If we head higher, we're looking at crossing the previous month's high at 2398.7. Beyond that is yesterday's high at 2404. And then the current month high, which was made on Friday, that is at 2413.6 generally. I mark all these myself. There are indicators that will mark them for you, but I find if I spend the morning marking them myself, I pay attention to them a bit more, and I take notice of other things that I wouldn't have noticed otherwise. If we head lower, yesterday's close might stand in the way, but beyond that we have the previous month's close at 2369, which was also yesterday's low, so look out for that. And the Dow, looks like right now we are breaking below yesterday's close. I don't know. I want markets to go lower right now for obvious reasons. I don't think they will. At least not right now. I don't know. I couldn't say what would happen today. If we head higher, you have a whole bunch of mess to get through for the Dow. Price did launch above it at that news, but I mean, these are the times I sometimes want volume profile, but I did not use it very well. Other people swear by it. I liked it, but I've got enough junk on my charts. I also used to use, I really liked it, TPO, market profile. The only reason I don't use it on TradingView is because it sucks on TradingView. They might have improved it now. I haven't tried it lately. But last time I looked at it, it was almost unusable for futures in the way most people use volume profile or market profile for futures. If you're not aware of what it is, it lists price differently. I would say vertically instead of horizontally. I could show you an example, but it would probably mess up. Some other time. Like I said, if we move higher, we got this mess to get through. Beyond that, there's nothing. If we head lower, previous month's close at 45,601. Beyond that, we have yesterday's low at 45,473, 471. Not much beyond that. Again, you can see the channel we're stuck in on the upper end. I don't know. I just feel it somewhere that price is going to break above it today. I wouldn't trade on that, but I don't know. I just have that feeling. We shall see. Gold. Gold is sitting at right now yesterday's close. Bounced off it a couple times. 36.82. If gold heads higher, I would look out for yesterday's high. That's about it. Might be some resistance in this general area here. That would be, yeah, maybe not. Price didn't spend a whole lot of time there yesterday. I bet if you could see volume profile, most of the volume would be in this area here. If gold heads lower, look out for yesterday's low and pivot point at 36.62. I do think that if you see the ES and the NQ going up, gold's probably going to be going down, at least for today. We'll see. You know, if you look at, let's look for some candle patterns. So I made note of this last week. You see gold was making higher highs, lower lows, higher highs, lower lows, all of a sudden until the 4th, which was Thursday. And I said that might be a sign at that point. I kind of remember myself saying that might be a sign of that we're gonna go down a bit in gold, and we didn't. Gold barely even tried to bounce off of a pivot point and resumed its higher highs, lower lows on a daily until today, till the overnight. The overnight low broke below yesterday's low. Didn't stay there long, as you can see on the overnight. But that would be a major area if we head down there. That would be a good scalp. All right, oil. Oil's in this messy area again. I went over this yesterday and the day before and probably the day before. This area in here acts like a magnet for gold or oil. I should have made this trade yesterday, but I missed it. If we head higher, we have yesterday's high. Beyond that, previous month's close. I could see us look for weakness at either of those for a return to this magnet area. You can see it better on the daily chart. This area right here. Since the beginning of August, price constantly heads back to that area. And very often a day goes by, a day doesn't, I don't know how to say that. Most days price does touch it. Except for what? 4 days? Out of the last 20, 30 trading days? No, less than that. 20 trading days, roughly. I do think that there's a government somewhere is trying to keep price in this general area. I don't follow it enough to know why, but I can see it in the charts. That's all I need to see. All right, again, I forgot to look at the VIX in the overnight. So let's take a look at that. Maybe I did look at it, but another reason I shouldn't have done that trade was VIX was trending down pretty good. You'll usually get some type of confirmation that there'll be a reversal in the VIX. It just didn't seem to be there. There was a green bar right when I entered the trade, but the trend was still lower. Might now start heading up? I don't know. It sucks now. I'm gonna have to watch that trade and just try not to lose more money. But I think that's it for today. A little bit short. I'd like to make it even shorter. Who knows? I sometimes include extra stuff. Maybe one day I'll trade for a while once I get better with the quicker scalping, because my normal scalps and day trades, I might get max of 3 a day. It's not very exciting. But if I get better with the quick scalping, which I've had some success with in paper trading, then I'll do that on stream for my grand audience of 0. But over time, should grow some people here. That's all I want, is a small community of people to challenge me, to teach me more. I said yesterday that the final step in learning something is to teach it. So even the small things I know, to teach it to someone else would help me learn it for good. But that's it. Have safe trading. See you tomorrow.